Welcome to another episode of Gamer Logic. Grab your Famicom controllers because today I'm reviewing a game that was inspired by the Dio song, Holy Diver. Holy Diver was released on the Famicom on April 28, 1989 in Japan and is a side-scrolling action platformer that bears a striking resemblance to the Castlevania series. The game was never released for the Nintendo Entertainment System, most likely due to its name and perhaps its extremely high level of challenge. The story of Holy Diver is this: the evil Black Slayer and his minions are destroying the world, and the only thing capable of stopping them is the 5 magic powers of the King Crimson family. Randy R., the hero of the game, has been given the difficult task of finding these powers, and in doing so, he will have to travel to 5 different lands and defeat the bosses there in order to gain access to these items. As mentioned before, the gameplay of Holy Diver bears a resemblance to many other side-scrolling action games during the Famicom and NES era, but resembles Castlevania the most in terms of presentation. Instead of a whip, Randy uses the power of magic. His default attack is a ball of light that has a short range and isn't very powerful, but you also start with the magic attack called Twin Fire that will allow you to shoot further and doubles your attack power. Unfortunately, the use of this isn't unlimited, as each time it's used, it will cost you 2 magic points. The same can be said of the additional magic powers you acquire as you finish each stage. By the time you finish the game, you will have a total of 5 magic powers, each with their own functions and magic point cost. Blizzard, for example, will allow you to freeze lava and stop certain enemies from moving, while Overdrive can be used to summon a magic barrier that can protect Randy. While the magic you can acquire is extremely entertaining to use, if you don't use the magic points carefully, you can find yourself in many hopeless situations, so use them carefully. The main objective in each stage is to get to the end of it and defeat the boss, and along the way obtain special items like jump boots, a wizard staff, and a bracelet that can destroy certain blocks. You can even find an item that will turn you into a freaking dragon for portions of the stage. Now that is awesome. If you've played a Castlevania game, then you have a pretty good idea of how to control the game. The only exception is that Randy can actually shoot up, unlike the Belmonts of the original Nintendo era. Using the start and select buttons, you can access a sub-menu that allows you to select your magic power, as well as turning the power on and off from your default weapon. While the control in the game is decent, it does have its issues, and it exposes these issues the most when you're attempting to jump from platform to platform. In Stage 4, for example, the jump button will fail to respond if Randy happens to be moving in a particular way, especially on a moving platform. It also doesn't help that Randy gets blasted backwards anytime he's hit, as during this motion you're unable to do absolutely anything. The graphics in this game are very sharp looking and provide a detailed amount of variety for enemies, backgrounds, and boss characters. Randy himself is very detailed, though you can tell he borrows obvious elements from the Belmont characters. The game also runs pretty fast, though there is an occasional slowdown when there's a large amount of enemies on screen. There's even a guest appearance from the first level of Contra in a way. Holy Diver has a great mix of sound effects and music, and all of it fits together nicely with the overall tone of the game. And just so we can answer the question now, Holy Diver itself does not appear as a music track in the game, though it would have been pretty amazing if it would have been included. On a side note, do a search on Holy Diver in chiptune format and you'll be amazed at how great these chiptune renditions sound. As someone who's been playing video games for almost 27 years, I've faced many challenges and have beaten many video games. That being said, it's been a long time since I've had a game in this genre that has officially made me its bitch, and I mean that. Holy Diver will swarm you with many enemies at once and will make you think about what powers work best for the situation. The toughest portions of this game are the small platform jumping segments of Stage 4, the next to impossible boss of Stage 4, and the approach to the Black Slayer himself on the final stage. The platform portion of Stage 4 is tough because there's not much footing available, and you're almost guaranteed to lose a life due to how far Randy gets knocked back from taking a hit from an enemy. The fact that the creatures take multiple hits and almost can't be hit by the default weapon adds to the frustration. I believe I was stuck on this portion of the level for about 45 minutes. I think the overall theme of Stage 4 is you're going to fall a lot and die, and the boss of this level makes that fact very well known. The only thing between you and him is 4 floating platforms, and he takes up most of the screen. If you happen to be 1 pixel off of these platforms and you take a hit, prepare to start over because you're gonna fall and you're going to die. I spent half an hour on this pillar boss, and by the time I finally defeated him, I did cartwheels. The approach to Black Slayer will put your patience to the test in the final level. Before you can fight him, you must destroy these large demon heads to pass, and they take many hits. There's never enough footing to hit them with your default weapon, so you have to use magic. The problem is, if you're hit by one of them, you're knocked so far back that even if you manage to get a shot off at one of them before you are hit, it won't count. And if you waste all your magic points on the first few of them, you can forget about getting past the rest of the stage. This part alone took me an hour to do, and even if you manage to get past this portion, you have a hell of a vertical climb to make with tough jumps and respawning enemies. Not fun. Overall, Holy Diver is a decent platforming game that is unfortunately held back from being a fantastic game due to its near impossible difficulty that almost brings the game to a halt. I love a good challenge, but I can see why this game never made its way over to the US. One look at this game from a North American Nintendo rep during 1989 would have said this game would have been too hard for American gamers. The game definitely would have had to have been tweaked for release over here. I give it a 3 out of 5. While I'm satisfied I finished the game, I don't think I could ever come back to it. What's the line from the song? That's right, gotta get away, Holy Diver. For those of you who don't think your platforming skills are up to par, please enjoy the ending to Holy Diver.